They had toiled all night in the open sea, even going farther beyond their usual point. But the boat was empty, save for the tired-looking fishermen, weary from their hard work over the night. The high spirits with which they had gone out to sea were short-lived, replaced by disappointment. The breadwinners among them were already regretting their return to land with nothing to sell or even little to spare for dinner. Perhaps today is not their day, they resolved, and they motivated each other. They made for the shore. They were washing and gathering their nets when they noticed the crowd standing by the shore. Was he, the one many called the teacher? He approached the fishermen. One particular boat, the one that had just returned to shore, caught his attention. He asked to use the boat so he could move out onto the water and speak to the multitude that had gathered. Peter, the owner of the boat, was tired and impossibly wondering what he would bring home to his family. Surprisingly, he agreed to help Jesus, the great teacher, on his mission. He pushed the boat back to the sea together with his business partners, the Zebedee brothers. They took on a job that had nothing to do with fishing, and in fact, expected no remuneration. As Jesus preached, they listened, just like the people on the shore. Their minds were opened and receptive to the words, like fallow ground receiving seed from a sower. Then it was time to go back as the great teacher concluded his teaching. Jesus looked at them and saw through their plight and told them to try again for one more fishing attempt. They must have laughed and possibly smirked. They had toiled all night. They were the pros. To make matter worse, it was daytime, the worst time to go fishing. But then Peter, possibly the lead fisherman, agreed. He figured at least there was nothing to lose, and he would be able to tell a better story when he reached home. They put out their nets, still doubting the directive of the great teacher. All of a sudden, they felt a familiar pull on the nets. No, this can't be real, they must have thought. But the boat grew heavier and heavier. They could not deny the reality. They had a massive catch ready to be pulled into the boat. They pulled and pulled. Of all their years of experience, they had never had such a catch. The net was pulled in, and there poured out the greatest catch in their entire fishing career. The boat began to sink due to the unexpected load of fishes. Who is this man? They couldn't stop exclaiming. This shook them to their core. The impact hit Peter the most, and as he sank to his knees, he begged Jesus to depart from him. He had just witnessed a miracle that could only happen through God. He knew outright he had been divinely visited, standing in the presence of the Son of God. He had just had his Emmanuel moment, God with us. He recognized he was not worthy of such a visitation. He saw his unworthiness in the presence of the living Word of God. But Jesus smiled at him and calmed his mind. Do not be afraid. Let go of your fear. From now on, you shall be a fisher of men. For years, Peter had used the skills and capabilities to make ends meet. He had no greater understanding that there was a greater purpose beyond the use of his mastery. It was meant to serve a higher purpose. And another lesson here. When they had reached the shore, Peter and the Zebedee brothers left everything to their colleagues and followed Christ. They left their big break, the greatest catch in their entire career, a catch that possibly would have turned their lives around. They left it all and followed the source of life and the provider of everything. The catch would only last for a while, but they had found the lasting treasure that measured beyond the riches they had acquired. They left a fortune lying on the shore, casting aside their nets forever, for they chose Jesus, the voice that called them to a higher sea.